Great.
Well, good morning, everyone. And the talk today is Power versus Force, and the inspiration from it initially came from the book by Dr. David Hawkins. And he says that humans think that we live by virtue of the forces we can control, but in fact, we are governed by power from unrevealed sources, power over which we have no control. Whew. And we do like to have control, don't we? He says that power is always associated with that which supports the significance of life itself, whereas force always creates counterforce. It's a polarizing energy, so creating division and conflict. So when we're coming from the idea of power, we're actually opening up to a bigger idea in each moment. We're looking at life from a new perspective rather than naming it good, bad, right, wrong, here, there. We're allowing ourselves to kind of breathe into the experience of life and accept it as it is. And when we do that, there's a great strength that comes from us where we can sit in any situation and receive it with grace. The idea of force is that there has to be somebody right, somebody wrong. There has to be, that idea of division. I'm better than or bigger than, or there's always some sort of duality in that. And so we want to look at how we're living life moment to moment. When we're coming from power, we're coming from that divine sense within ourselves, that God self. It's when we hear that still small voice and we allow it room within ourselves. And what we end up doing is expanding to a greater expression of life and living. From force, we're coming from the ego. We're coming from the past, really, because what we know to be true based on our experience. So, of course, it's different for everyone. What I believe about life or what I believe about what's good or bad is from my perception alone. What you believe about what's good or bad is from yours, depending on how you were raised, what you were taught, where you lived. All of the things that brought you to this now moment will determine the way in which you judge any particular scenario. When we're coming from power, there is no judgment. Power is this inner strength, this divine wisdom that allows us to move through any experience and to do it knowing that somehow this is serving my highest good, that this is not bad or wrong. There's something in it that's really bringing me to a new place. At a certain moment in Nietzsche's life, the idea came to him of what he called the love of your fate. Whatever your fate is, whatever the heck happens, you say, this is what I need. That could be hard, eh? This is what I need. It may look like a wreck, but go at it as though it were an opportunity. That's a whole new way of looking at life. And that is coming from power, where we look at every moment, every situation, and begin to see it, not from our judgment, criticism, or what we know about the past, but in the moment to sit back and say, okay, this too is absolutely where I need to be. It's absolutely what needs to happen. What is it that it's bringing into my awareness? How do I live from this moment forward after having this experience? I was recently talking with a friend of mine. Her sister developed a glioblastoma and has been given a limited lifespan as a result. And when she first found out about this, there was, anger and frustration and things like that. But what's come of it is she has become a whole new person. One of the things that my girlfriend said is her sister had never really said, I love you, or you could count on half a hand how many times she'd ever said it in her entire life. And now it's like every time she sees somebody, she's delighted, excited, happy, joyful, saying, I love, 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 love you. Like she's got this whole energy happening where she's taking the moments that she has and she's allowing them to be full and beautiful rather than being in a place of, judgment or dread or, oh no, this is so awful, terrible. Instead, she's just alive, awake, aware, and fully present in her life in a loving and joyful way. Now, I know that everybody has the capability of doing that, but what if we did? What if instead of trying to force things to be different, we accepted them as they are? That we looked at the world from a higher consciousness, a consciousness of oneness, knowing that every single thing that's happening in the universe is bringing us together. It's bringing us together. The whole idea of power is a unifying force, where force is division. So when we begin to come to understand that, we can start to create our lives in a much more peaceful, loving way. Joseph Campbell writes, whatever calamity arises, if you bring love to the moment, not discouragement, you will find that strength is there. Any disaster that you can survive is an improvement in your character, your stature, and your life. And I think we know this. We're all of an age where we've had things happen. But isn't it fascinating how when we overcome some of that history, when we get to a new place, we can reflect backwards and go, wow, I'm so glad that actually occurred because I have new abilities or a greater appreciation for life or a greater strength as a result of it. What we want to begin doing is living from that point of power rather than just finding it in reflection when we look back, but seeing it right here, right now. That's where we want to get to. And power within us is the divine, right? That's that divine presence. So our practice day by day, as we do our meditation, as we do our prayer work, even as we do gratitude journaling or forgiveness work, what we're doing is we're bringing ourselves back to that point of power. We're bringing ourselves back into that place of possibility. And we begin to see life from a new perspective. We can begin to experience things in a brand new way. This morning, had a funny, well, not so funny little experience. My daughter's learning how to drive, and so we were out driving around. And when we were coming home, when she turned onto our street, or the street that's close to ours, another car was coming the other direction. She got a little too close to the parked cars, and there was a little rub that happened. It is what it is, right? So I said, okay, you got to stop the car. We got to go back. We got to take a look, see what's happened, figure out who owns the car, and we've got to deal with it. So the interesting thing is that these things happen. We all know that. We've probably all done things that we wish we hadn't done, things that either cost us money or interrupted our day or whatever happened. But the reality is nothing can be done about it except to deal with it, take responsibility and deal with it. So it's like we got out of the car, we walked over, I said, you got to come and take a look. You can't just let it be. You've got to come and take a look. And somebody came out of the house, so we chatted with him and shared information. The learning from that, it was very upsetting for her, but the learning from that, like I said, is like, you've learned something very valuable. You know now, how to take that corner and how to deal with oncoming traffic in a way that is more positive and productive and less expensive. But there's no point in being upset about it. Like, I know she's upset, but I'm not. It's like, yeah, it is. It's, it's a car. It's not the end of the world. But there's something about that experience that when we strive to do things perfectly, and of course we fall short, which we all do at some point in time, we have an opportunity to either judge and criticize ourselves for it, or to go, wow, what a learning opportunity. Can I take this and from here begin to see things in a new light, see things in a different way? Can I be gentle with myself? Karen Drucker has a great song called Gentle with Myself. And in that song, it's like, treating yourself like a newborn baby child. And I love that idea of treating ourselves in that way. And that, of course, is coming from power. Force is, the dread, the upset, the wishing it could be different, and the way we beat ourselves up about things, where power is, it's an experience. It's an experience, and I can take it and I can learn from it and I can do better next time, or I can berate myself and cause myself greater harm. So we want to just begin to look at life from a new perspective. Look at it from a place of, I can do this. I can learn from this. And I can be gentle with myself in the process. We spend a lot of time in self-judgment, self-criticism. We spend a lot of time in regret, in shame, in disappointment. We spend a lot of our time using this incredible power in a way that diminishes. So force is a very low consciousness level. And when we're in that place of judgment, criticism, regret, shame, all of that, we're in that very low vibrational level. What we want to do is lift it. And one of my favorite phrases is, love is the answer, doesn't matter what the question is. Love is the answer. And love means oneness. When we come to that place of oneness, even a little situation like, rubbing up against this car, we met people that we wouldn't have met otherwise. We met people who are new to us now. Even moving into the house we've moved into, we have the main floor. There's a young couple who live downstairs. It's like a family in this house. We've only been here a little over 3 weeks, but already there's a connection between us and them that's really beautiful. And it's like they're 2 more of my kids. There's something wonderful happening there. So when we look at the world and we look at the way things happen, and we can be distressed about the order of things, but really it's a waste of time. But it's also a waste of a very valuable and powerful resource. Our mind is building our body and our world. Our mind, that energy within, that divine energy within, is creating everything based on our belief system. Remember what Jesus said, it's done unto you as you believe. Or even in the book of Genesis, where God says to Adam, whatever you name a thing, that's what it's going to be for you. We want to take those ideas that came out of scripture and go, what does that mean to me today? And what it means is my words have power. The way I think, not just how I speak, but the way I think is creating the world I live in. Am I happy with what I'm seeing? And if not, what am I going to do about it? And what I can do is begin to come from power rather than force. Wake myself up to that place of just knowing that there is a divine presence within me that is all powerful, all knowing, everywhere present. So it is just oneness. When we come to that place of oneness, we begin to experience life brand new. And there's a thing that happens that is so life affirming, so powerful and positive, that it just changes everything. And how do we do it? Well, it starts with our practice, our spiritual practice. You see, we are spiritual beings. We don't have to get there. We're already it. What we need to do is accept that, number one. And then number two, live from that place of when we get something in our physical world that feels uncomfortable, drop into it. Just drop into it and go, whew, let me feel this. Let me be with this. Rather than pushing it away or stuffing it down or trying to justify it or change it, just be with it, breathe into it, and take the time to sit in that place, knowing that there is something that's going to move us out of it. There's something that's going to shift it for us. There's something that's going to make a big change. And are we ready for that? Because change is happening whether we like it or not. Change is the constant. It is always going on. But what type of change are we experiencing? Are we going deeper and deeper into the pit, or are we elevating ourselves into a consciousness of acceptance and grace and love? Are we allowing life to simply be what it is without trying to force it into something else? Make it into something different. I don't like this. I want it to be different. It's like my girlfriend's sister who, has accepted her fate. And through that, the fact that she knows she only has probably a couple of months left, but she's living it instead of in dread and upset and why me, she's living in a place of, I love, 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 love you. Every person she talks to, it's that whole energy. When my ex-husband was dying, it was something that happened just immediate, from the time the incident occurred to when he passed was about 3 weeks. And in that 3 weeks, although he was in considerable pain, every person who came into his hospital room, who did anything for him, he thanked them and he said, I love you. Every nurse, every doctor, every technician, every person who came to visit, every time somebody came into his room, thank you, I love you. These are not hard words to speak. These are not hard things to do. And yet sometimes we forget. As in the case of my friend's sister, one of the challenges, she never said, I love you. She never, she was a very stoic kind of person with, making things right. And she was very healthy. Everything was perfect until all of a sudden it wasn't. And now she's in this place of just experiencing love in every moment, bringing people together, having fun, laughing, playing, excited by every person that connects with her, as was my ex-husband. There's a journey that we're on where we get to choose how we deal with this thing called life. And when we come to recognize that there is only one thing going on, which is, God or spirit or universe, whatever you want to call it, that one thing, we live, move, and have our being in it. We're not separate from it. It isn't something inside of us. It is all of us. It is the physical, it is the spiritual, it is the emotional, the mental, all of it. All of it's happening in this one thing. It's like asking a fish what water feels like. It'll say, what's water? We are spiritual beings, and we're taking life way too seriously. We need to sit in it and go, what does today bring? What's happening now? In the moment we do that, we can take each thing as it comes with a lighter heart and a more open mind, going, wow, this is taking me somewhere where I don't know. But when I relax into it and just allow it to be, what happens is my anxiety levels drop, my frustration and annoyance drops, and what's lifted is possibility and potential. And now what? Something exciting and delightful is occurring. Something beautiful is happening from this moment. I'm meeting a new person. I get to have the opportunity of having conversation with people I'd never known before. Life is happening, and we can go with it and really thoroughly experience the ride, or we can resist it. Either way, we're still moving. One is going to be easier than the other. Power is coming from a place of surrender, acceptance, and faith. Force is me versus them, division, separation. What do you choose? Power or force? Let's just go into a meditation here. I invite you to just take a breath and just relax. And just take another deep breath. And I want you to imagine that you're sitting on a beach. The sun is warm on your skin. There's a little bit of a breeze that feels amazing. A nice warm breeze coming off the water. You can hear a bird, a little chirp as it flies by. And the sound of the waves as they break against the shore. And as you sit on this warm sand, just feel the sand with your hands, with your legs. Maybe even lay down and just feel your whole body supported by the sand that is warm and comforting, comfortable. The warmth of the sun that's warming your skin, the gentle breeze keeping you comfortable. And imagine that you are one with the sand, that your consciousness merges right into the beach and you are the beach. And ask the question, why am I? Why am I a beach? What is this? Feel what it's like to be grains of sand with water lapping over top. Feel the energy of the life that teems within that sand. Insects and animals that are part of it, that move through it. And now separating your consciousness back into your individual self. And see yourself laying on the sand again. And as you sit up and you see the ocean, and you feel that breeze and the sun, recognizing that you're one with all of it. There is no sand and water and you and sky. There is one thing experienced in an individualized way, but one thing. And the consciousness of the sand is different than the consciousness within you. And yet all of it is part of the experience. Take in the scenery around you. See the beauty of life laid out before you to be experienced. And as you breathe into this moment, relax. Feel the beauty of life, the beauty of your life. Feel the strength rising within you. The delight at being present, at being alive, about being here, connecting with friends, sharing this moment. Feel the gratitude of that. And it is in this heightened sense of consciousness, this heightened place, that something beautiful occurs. So take a deep breath in. And as you exhale, beginning to open your eyes and come back to this space. And so it is.
beautiful song that I played this morning, and it won't cooperate.